Hello, this is Cass Naidu, life and relationship coach, and I am committed to helping you consciously create epic relationships. So in this video, I'm going to show you how most people consistently deal with relationship struggles. And I'm going to show you why some ways work and some just don't. So I'm going to cover 3 different ways that we deal with relationship struggles. The first one, when we use this, usually simply escalates the struggles. And these kind of relationships usually end in breakup or divorce. The second type, I'm going to show you why it gets mediocre results at best. And the third way that we deal with relationship struggles is the way that will help you create the most epic relationships. A relationship where there is this mutual attraction to each other, where you truly and deeply understand each other, accept each other, acknowledge each other. The love is open, it's free flowing, it's unconditional. The support is also unconditional for who you really are. And I think all of us want relationships like that. So this video is for you whether you're single or divorced and you don't want to repeat the patterns of your past relationships that failed, or if you are in a relationship currently and you want to take it to the next level. You want to stop the struggle and you really want to create this epic partnership. So the first type, the first way that we deal with relationship struggles is we actually don't. So these are couples that get together and have the fairy tale thinking that when I find the right partner, then I will be happy and we will fall in love and we will live happily ever after. So you can see from that there's a lot of emphasis on the right partner. That means I'm not looking at me, I'm looking at the people around me to see if it's the right partner, I will be happy. So if I've had breakups in the past, that means those partners were the wrong partners. Therefore, I wasn't happy, right? So what happens here is in the beginning, the fairy tale is amazing because you find this person that you feel this immense attraction to. You feel that time just flies by when you're in each other's company and you both want the same thing. So you jump into this relationship expecting that the rest of the relationship is going to be exactly like it was when you first met. But then the expectations come in. And these are generally the expectations that you did not discuss before you got into relationship with this person or even married this person. And when these expectations come up and our partner's not meeting those expectations, that is where the conflict begins. So as long as we are expecting our partner to think differently, think the way I think, act differently, change their behaviors, change their values, and become who I want them to be, and then I will be happy. You can see that that is so powerless. It's you giving all of your power to another person. So when the relationship struggles start in a relationship like this, where we did not have any of those conversations up front, now we have these expectations that are not being met. We are disappointed. We are often frustrated. We get angry. We feel like our partner doesn't love us anymore, doesn't see us, doesn't acknowledge us, is not supporting us. So when these struggles begin, people deal with it in 2 ways. The one is silence, where, okay, we're having a bit of a disagreement here. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep the peace. If I say something, they're going to leave. Or it's any of that kind of thinking where I'm just not going to say anything. And that is really dangerous because what it does is inside of you, this pressure begins to build and it builds. So even though you're not saying anything, it doesn't mean that you're not feeling anything. So inside of you, you are feeling the disappointment. You're feeling the sadness that you're not being loved and supported. You're feeling all of that. The frustration is building. The anger is building inside of you. The blaming the partner. The fear that this is another relationship that's going to end. So you're feeling all of those things, and they're going to escalate until it erupts. And then the other way is you get into arguments. So one is silence, the other is arguments. So when you get into arguments, you'll find that very often in these relationships, because we do not have the tools to communicate in a way that we are heard, and we do not have the tools to resolve conflict when it happens, so we arrive at a win-win rather than one winning and one losing. We don't have these tools, so we have these big arguments, and then we don't know what to do with that. So we either not talk to each other for a couple of hours or even days, and then we'll come back together. One person either buys flowers or cooks a nice meal or just pretends, everything's back to normal. And then you both kind of like, okay, we'll just, carry on as normal. And then very soon the next argument happens because you didn't actually resolve anything. You just simply swept it under the carpet. So this kind of dealing with struggles, this way is going to constantly escalate the struggle. So the time between the arguments will get shorter and shorter, and the intensity of the arguments will get bigger and bigger. All right. So these kinds of relationships and that way of dealing with your struggles is definitely not workable. So that is the worst thing you can do if you want to have that epic relationship. Then the second way that people deal with relationship struggles is they come to a point and they say, look, we don't know what to do. This is really bad. Maybe we need some help. So they seek out a marriage counselor or a therapist, and they go there to fix the relationship. And this way gets mediocre results because it takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of compromise. Like I have to really make these changes that I don't want to make. And a lot of the time when a couple goes to therapy, each one is secretly hoping that the therapist is going to fix their partner and then everything will be all right. The relationship will be fine and it will work. So we're not ever going in there saying, what can I do differently? How can I show up differently, right? It's fix the partner and then we'll be happy. And this kind of, it works in some cases where two people are really, really committed and they really do the work, they put in the time, they're prepared to sacrifice, and if they're not, the resentment builds, right? So in the majority of cases, you'll find that couples are in therapy for months, sometimes years, and not much is really changing because our egos are in the way and saying that, I'm right, you're wrong. You are the one that needs to change. So when the therapist says something, it's, oh, she said it for you or he said it to you. You need to listen to that. You need to make that change, right? So when we're coming at it like that, and I think the worst case scenario is when two people are sitting in front of that therapist and having an argument, because then the therapist wants to get you out of the office as fast as possible because they can't deal with that. When the emotions are running so high, you are not open to listening, to taking in new information that can help you fix that. You're not open to that, right? So the higher the emotions, the less open we are to actually finding the root cause and making these changes. So that's the second way most people deal with struggle. And I think the sad thing is that the majority of the people use method number one, where they're not even asking for help and it's just escalating between the two of them, or they're complaining to family and friends who really don't have the answers for you, right? And complaining does not help the situation, especially when your friends love you and then they on your side and they're saying, you're right and they are wrong, so let's, you deserve better, and just tell them this and just do this. That's not helping you in the least. So the majority of the people use system 1, fewer people use system 2, and I'm going to introduce you now to the third way that I've used with thousands of clients, and it has really helped them step into their true power, find their inner happiness, joy, and self-love, and from that place create absolutely epic relationships. So this way is for us to realize that working on a relationship is useless. Because what is the relationship? It's an inanimate something. What is it? It's a concept. And working on the concept is not going to change anything. But there are two people that make up this relationship. And any work that needs to be done is on the two people and not on each other. But each person standing up and saying, how do I show up in relationships? What's my expectations from a partner? And what do I bring to a relationship? So when we start looking inward, we realize, oh, hold on. There are certain things that maybe my expectations are unrealistic. Why do I have this expectation of someone else? Because if I am whole and complete within myself, I don't have expectations of other people. Now I'm here to share a life with someone. I'm here to co-create a relationship with someone. I don't need them to fulfill me. I don't need them to make me happy. But together, we're just better than each of us on our own. So therefore, we build this relationship together. So when we make that choice and we say, okay, I want to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be so that I can be the best partner. I cannot expect a partner to love me if I don't love myself. I cannot expect a partner to accept me fully if I'm not accepting myself, if I'm self-critical and I'm judging myself. I cannot expect a partner to do anything differently from that, right? The world simply reflects to you what you hold inside of you. Most of the time in the beginning, I ask my clients, what do you think is the purpose of relationships? And the majority, initially they look like a, deer in headlights. Like, I didn't even think about that before. But then they come up with answers like it's companionship. It is to build a life together. It's have a home together, have a family. We have someone there when we want to travel. We can grow old together. It's just having someone there with you. And I'm going to tell you that these are all of the things that we do in relationships, but it's not the purpose of relationships. The true purpose of relationships is that it provides the perfect platform for you to grow into your fullest potential as a human being. It provides the platform and the safety for you to be authentic and vulnerable and heal what needs to be healed from the past. Those kind of relationships continue to grow and evolve. They get deeper with time. They get more loving with time. They get kinder. It's more understanding because you're truly showing up not as this person with the mask on that's saying, oh, I'm this amazing person, and you get into relationship and then they realize maybe you're not so amazing, and you realize they're not so amazing. Right? But when we're not expecting perfection from our partners and we're rather looking for the authenticity that we can show up with, that invites them to show up in their authenticity, now we have a chance to create a strong foundation for our relationship, and we're doing it consciously. Because if I'm saying, oh, my partner doesn't acknowledge me for all of the things I do. In a conscious relationship, you will not go and demand that from your partner and complain to your friends that your partner is not acknowledging you. Rather, you will ask the question, why is it that I need acknowledgement from my partner? Because it's only when I feel insecure within myself, or I feel like I'm invisible, I'm doing so much, but the other person's not recognizing me for what I'm doing. They need to recognize me. So then when I look at that and I say, oh, there's a part of me that's insecure. There's a part of me that's not recognizing myself. There's a part of me that doesn't believe that I am worthy. And that's the work that I do. Where did this start? When did I first feel this way? Was it when I was 5 years old and I wanted my mom's attention for something and she was just too busy and she couldn't give me that attention? Or I did something, I achieved something in school and I was so proud of it and I came home and they didn't really give me the praise and the acknowledgement that I so desired. So I'm still hurting from there. So now as an adult, I'm expecting my partner to fulfill what I didn't get there. So whether it was with parents or a past relationship, all of that needs healing. And the relationship provides you with a platform to do that healing. And when you do that, each thing that you heal, you step more into your authentic power as a human being. You step more into your fullest potential as a human being. And there's no other way to live. There's no other way to live. Why are we playing small? If you want to be in a relationship, make it epic. Don't play at relationships. Take a deep dive into it. Put in the time and energy that's required. And you will be rewarded with a relationship that is so deep, so meaningful, where you really feel like someone sees you and knows you to the core of your being. And there's no better relationship than that. So if you're still watching this, that means somewhere in your life you know that you want to improve your relationships. You don't want to repeat the problems that you've had in the past, the struggles you've had in the past. So I'm going to offer you a free 30-minute session with me. And I'm telling you this. Within the first 15 minutes, I will tell you exactly why your relationships have not worked until this point. I'll tell you exactly why. And I'm going to give you a solution to create epic relationships going forward. So if you are at a place and you say, I'm ready to invest time, energy, and money into creating an epic relationship so that I can have my happily ever after. Not from the fairy tale notion, but from a place where I genuinely create it. If this appeals to you, if this is something you truly want to do, then I'm going to, you send me a DM, a direct message, and I will send you a link and you can set up an appointment with me and we'll do that 30-minute session, right? So let's do this together and create epic relationships.